Good morning, children. Today, let us have the recap of our lesson 1 crop production and management. Here, we are going to learn about cultivation of crops and several activities undertaken by the farmer in crop production and its management. Basic practices of crop production. Cultivation of crops involves several activities undertaken by farmer over a period of time. These activities or tasks are referred as agriculture practices. Those involves preparation of soil, sowing, adding manure and fertilizers, irrigation, crop protection, harvesting, and storage. Now let us discuss these steps in detail. The very first step is preparation of soil. The process of losing the soil by ploughing and leveling is called as preparation of soil. It is one of the important tasks in agricultural practices. This ploughing of soil allows the roots to penetrate deeper into the soil, and this loose soil helps in the growth of soil organisms like earthworms and soil microorganisms. These soil organisms are called as friends of farmer as they turn the soil and lose the soil and add manure to the soil. The process of losing and turning of soil is called tilling and ploughing. The process of losing the soil is called tilling and ploughing. Before ploughing, the soil needs to be watered. After ploughing, here and there in the agricultural land, you can see big pieces of crumbs of soil which are to be broken with a plank. And this process of breaking the crumbs and lumps of soil with a plank is called leveling. Leveling helps in uniform distribution of water and minerals which we are going to add in future steps. To undertake these activities, the farmer used various tools called like plough, hoe, and cultivator. Here it is a plough. It is an ancient plough which is made up of wood. Here it is useful for ploughing the soil or tilling the soil with the help of a bulls. Next comes the another instrument called as hoe, which is useful for both ploughing and weeding. It is also having a wooden rod or a iron rod. Here you can see the next instrument called hoe, implement called hoe. Hoe is useful for removing the weeds as well as losing the soil also. With the help of the long rod like long rod which is wooden or iron, farmer can dig the soil and pull the soil and uproot the weeds also. And the next instrument we call it as modern plough or a cultivator. Here you can see it will have more than one plough and reduces our time in ploughing and labor charges for ploughing also. And we can complete the ploughing process in a lesser time. And the next step is sowing. Before sowing the seeds, the farmer have to select good quality of seeds. How do the farmer select the good quality of seeds? Here is a small activity to select or separate the good seeds from a damaged seeds. For that you need a beaker with water and a handful of seeds. What all you have to do is that just put the seeds in the water. After some time, you can observe the seeds which are hollow and damaged float to the surface of the water, and the seeds which are good, that means they are good in moisture content and have reserved food material, settle down. In the same way, the farmer will soak the seeds in a big pot of water and select the soaked seeds, seeds that settle down for sowing. And this is the olden tradition of using a funnel like instrument which is having two longer pipes where the pipes ends with the sharp ends, and these ends will dig the soil and place the seed there. This is olden tradition of using such funnel like instrument. And this is a second modern instrument for sowing process. This is a seed drill which can be attached to your tractor, and the seed drill is a tool which helps in sowing the seeds uniformly at proper distances and depth. See children, if there is no proper distance between the seeds or plants in the agricultural land, the crop plant have to compete with each other for minerals, for manure, for water, for space as well as for sunlight also. That's why the farmer need to sow the seeds at appropriate distance so that they get sufficient sunlight and they won't compete for sunlight, water, nutrients and the space also. Next step is adding manure and fertilizers. The substances which are added to the soil to form in the form of nutrients for the healthy growth of plants are called manures or fertilizers. Manure is an organic substance which is obtained by the decomposition of plants and animal waste, whereas fertilizer is a chemical substance which is prepared in industries. Here you can see the farmer spreading fertilizers in his field. Some of the examples of fertilizers are urea, ammonia, sulfate, potash, and superphosphate. You can see them on the screen. Now let us discuss about differences between fertilizers and manure. Very important question, children. Fertilizer is an organ Fertilizer is an inorganic salt, whereas manure is an organic substance which is obtained by the decomposition of cattle dung, human waste, and plant residues. Fertilizer is an inorganic salt prepared in factories, but manure can be prepared in the field by the farmer himself. Manure add good amount of humus to the soil, whereas fertilizers does not provide any humus to the soil. Manure increases the number of soil microorganisms, whereas fertilizer decreases the number of microbes. While compared to fertilizers, manures are relatively less rich in your plant nutrients. Advantages of manure. If you are going to add manure to the soil, it increases the soil texture. It changes the soil texture. It improves the water holding capacity of the soil. And the soil becomes more porous. More porous in the sense the soil will have good air holes so that oxygen can penetrate inside and increase the number of soil microorganisms, which improves the soil manurity. And the next topic is irrigation. All living creatures require water for survival. In the same way, plants require water for their growth, development, and seeds for germination also. Here you can observe the plant absorbs water through its roots. Not only water, the water minerals and fertilizers are dissolved in water and absorbed through the roots of the plant. And these mineral nutrients are dissolved in water and transported to various parts of the plant body parts. The supply of water to the crop is called as irrigation. The supply of water to the crop at regular intervals or at regular timings is called as irrigation. The supply of water to the crops is called as irrigation. These are the natural sources of water. They are well, lake, dams, tube wells, ponds, rivers, and canals. In olden tradition, the farmer used to pull out the water from the natural resources of water and supply them to the agricultural lands. We already discussed in detail about the Rahat system, pulley system, Dakely system. In this, the farmer is pulling out the water from the natural sources of water and watering the agricultural land. In ancient agriculture irrigation practices, there is a lot of wastage of water and uneven distribution of water takes place. And it is very tedious and laborious work also. In a modern irrigation systems, the farmer use the help of motor to pull out the water from the natural sources of water, and he runs the motor with the help of a diesel, biogas, electricity, or solar energy. And he can use water economically, and 100% wastage of water can be reduced in modern irrigation systems. Here comes the sprinkler system. Sprinkler system is most useful in unevenly spreaded lands, and it is very useful in the drought areas where very little amount of water is available. In a sprinkler system, the motor is connected to main pipeline system and it is connected to nozzles, rotating nozzles. When these rotating nozzles are on, they rotate and sprinkle the water just as it is raining. And uniform distribution of water takes place throughout the field, and this sprinkler system is very useful in sandy soils, and 100% wastage of water can be reduced. Here you can see the next irrigation system, that is drip system. In this drip system, The pipeline runs towards the roots of the plants, and exactly at the root of the plant, the pipeline will have a nozzle. And the nozzle keep on providing water drop by drop exactly at the root of the plant. That means 100% water wastage is reduced, and all the water which we are providing to the crop will be utilized by the plant for its development. The next topic is protection from weeds. Here you can see some unwanted grass plants are growing along with the crop. And these unwanted plants which are growing along with your crop are called as weeds. And removing of these weeds is called as weeding. Removing of the unwanted plants in the field is called as weeding. This weeding can be done manually as the farmer is doing with a instrument called like a sickle, which can be manually removed by the hand, just as the farmer is doing in the picture. He is uprooting the weeds and removing the weeds out of the soil. And he can use some weedicides also. Anyhow, these weedicides are the chemicals which kills the weeds, and as they are chemicals, they are going to harm the farmer and going to harm the people who are going to feed on such a type of foods which are generated by using weedicides. That's why we have to wash all the agricultural foods we get and then only consume them properly. After doing all these processes, after 2 to 3 months or 3 to 4 months, the crop gets matured. The collecting the matured crop from the crop is called as harvesting. Collecting the matured crop from the fields is called as harvesting. The harvesting can be done manually by a implement called sickle, as just as the farmer is doing in the picture, or else we can use a machine called as harvester. This harvester is useful for three processes, that is harvesting, threshing and winnowing. The next process after collecting the crop is called as threshing. Threshing is nothing but separating the crop grains from your crop parts. And the next process is winnowing. Winnowing is collecting the grains with the help of a wind. After winnowing and harvesting, the next important process is storage. Storage is an important task to protect our crop grains from various predators. As the newly as the fresh crop has more moisture in it, it is attracted by it is attracted to number of pest organisms and gets spoiled. In order to avoid this spoilage, the farmer sun dry the crop before going for storage. If he sun dry it, it reduces the moisture content in the crop and prevent the attack of insects, pests, bacteria and fungi. Farmers store the grains in jute bags or metal containers. However, large scale storage of grains is done in silos and granaries to protect from pests and rats and insects. In a household purpose, we generally use neem leaves to store our grains for a long period of time. That's the end of steps of agriculture, children. Let us meet in the next class.